Chapter 33, Fundamentals of Hydraulic, an Arrow for Hydraulic Braking Systems, Day 2, Video 11, Park Emergency Brake System. So part of the FM VSS 105 regulations said that we had to have a separate way to activate the park brake system, and then they will have the park brake system act as an emergency brake system if we are driving down the road and we have a failure in the hydraulic system. So secondary way of actuating the brakes. So we'll do that as we can use either the tandem system, so a primary and a secondary system. A lot of times they'll designate one or the other as the park/emergency brake system. A lot of times it's the drive axle, over the drive axle. So that would be the secondary brake system. Again, hydraulic braking system having a mechanical way of operating the park emergency system. So we use the handbrake with a cable connection, so a mechanical connection that will operate the park emergency brake system. Air hydraulic systems will use a spring, the energy stored in a spring, to apply the brakes if we have a failure in the hydraulic system. So here is the mechanical way of operating the park/emergency system. The handle here, or we could have a brake pedal located down there where the driver can push down on it. As I pull the lever up, it's moving some cables, pulling on some cables, and pulling the shoes into the drums, causing the park or emergency brakes to actuate. If we've got a rear disc, we would have a linkage, or so the cable coming up to a lever, and as we pull that lever, it would then push on this linkage here. On the end of it, we've got a wedge-shaped part of the linkage. It's being pushed in, a corresponding wedge angle to the piston. So as this wedge is moving further and further and further up, that piston is going to be forced out. It's in direct connection with the hydraulic piston, and then which is connected to the brake pads, forcing the brake pad into the rotor, causing our park brake to work. Or again, if we're driving down the road, the emergency brake function would be this way also. So an air over hydraulic system, we are going to use the spring pressure. So that's a crosscut of a spring, coiled spring. So during normal operation, we would send air pressure in on this side of the diaphragm. That would cause this piston to move this way and compress that spring. The linkage is moving up this way, and then these rollers would be retracted all the way back in there, not contacting the pistons of the out there at the brake ends. As I release the air pressure to park, or we have a failure in the system, this spring is now going to expand, pushing the piston back this way. The linkage is going to be pulled along with it. We've got the rollers here acting on the ramps on the pistons here, forcing them further and further out. Now we force the brake shoes against the drum, and either parking or an emergency function here.